You ready?
Yep. Okay, you can relax. So I'm going to read you Miranda, okay? Right now you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you before any question, okay?
Yes, sir.
If there's one thing a police officer hates more than anything else, it's being wrong.
When's the last time we smoked weed?
I do not remember that.
Tonight?
No.
Okay, well I think it's tonight.
I've had no weed tonight.
Jasper 6:30 down on PBT.
What? Why do you think it's tonight? Why do you think I smoke? I blew zeros, so now you're trying to think I smoke weed. That's what's going on. You can't do that, man. You really can't do that.
Absolutely I can.
Is he allowed to do that?
Yes, he is.
We're going home tonight, okay? I don't think I have no evidence or no information to suggest that you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Hi there. How you doing, sir? Good, how are you?
Good.
My name's Officer Winters with the Newton Police Department. The reason I pulled you over is because you have your bright lights on.
Yeah, I have a headlight out, so I just keep my brights on.
Okay, well that's not legal.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
So this video highlights something that is deeply infuriating about police officers in the United States of America. Now to be clear, this man that's being arrested originally got pulled over for driving around with their high beams on, which admittedly is annoying, and in some cases can be a traffic violation depending on how close you are to other vehicles and whether or not you're inside of a city and a bunch of other different factors. And the reason why he was driving with his high beams on was relatively simple. It's because one of his headlights was out, which is very understandable because if your headlight goes out, you can't necessarily control when that happens, and your high beams might be a useful alternative in the moment. Now we should all obviously keep our headlights maintained, but we really have to ask the question, does it make sense to arrest somebody over that? No, of course it doesn't. But this police officer came in with the mindset that he wanted to do something. And he apparently wanted to do something a lot more than a ticket. And so he ended up breathalyzing this guy, and the guy blew zeros. And then he accuses him of being high. Like, there are field sobriety tests that exist for police officers to use, but if a police officer is seeking to be malicious and just declare that somebody is under the influence, well, then it creates this opportunity for them to just arrest somebody for no reason. But all of this really speaks to the underlying reality, which is the very, very simple fact that fundamentally police officers do not like being wrong. They view their position of power as being one that allows them to completely define the situation. And anytime they find the situation being defined in a way that's different from the way that they say, then you find these issues of police officers escalating the situation, which is why so many innocent people get victimized by police officers. Because if you're an innocent person, you're probably a lot more likely to disagree with the police officer about what's going on. If a police officer says that one thing is happening and you're saying, wait, officer, I actually think that this is happening and there might be confusion here. Police officers view that as you disrespecting them, not respecting their authority to define what's going on in every single moment and arbitrarily decide what the consequences should be. And this just reveals how police officers in the United States fundamentally are granted far too much power. And as much as we would like to think that different regulations could be put in place and different protocols could be put in place to make sure that police officers are doing the right thing, the material reality at the end of the day is the simple fact that the police officers are people with guns who, if you disobey them, the law will by default assume that the police officer is right and you are wrong. And if you don't do what a police officer tells you to do, then they will call even more people with guns to show up to try and force you to do whatever they want. And that really is the heart of the problem, because fundamentally what most of police officers respond to does not require an armed response. The overwhelming majority of what a police officer responds to has no need for any firearm involvement whatsoever. And so our entire method of policing really fundamentally is the problem. We shouldn't be bringing armed people into circumstances that fundamentally do not need it, especially when you're talking about small level traffic enforcement stuff like this. I mean, seriously, it didn't seem like this driver was like actively hurting anybody. It seems like all he really needed to do was get his light switched, which means that it could have just been a really simple traffic stop that maybe left him with a ticket and that's all. And even then, the idea of giving a ticket to somebody who has like a dead headlight, I think is just ridiculous. Fundamentally, I think that these people should be given vouchers to just get their headlight replaced. But that's really aside the point, because the real point is that our entire system of policing is built on this assumption that police officers get to unilaterally define the situation and use violent force to impose their fantasies on everyone else. And that fundamentally is what puts people in danger.